This video is not just about tattoos. It's about that inner voice behind "this is just who I am" that often whispers, "this is who I had to become." For many women, a tattoo isn't simply body art. Sometimes it's a silent sentence written in ink, because words were no longer enough. Let me be clear from the start. This is not a moral sermon. This is not to judge people with tattoos, but to help them ask the questions they rarely dare to ask themselves. If you stay until the end of this video, you may one day look at a tattooed woman and ask, how much of this design is strength, and how much of it is protection? But perhaps the most uncomfortable and most honest question will be, where am I doing the same thing? This video might sound like it's about others, but it's really about your own shadow looking back at you. Have you noticed? So many women choose to get a tattoo during the most emotionally turbulent moments of their lives, after heartbreak, after betrayal, after loss or grief. After a moment they say, I am not the same person anymore. Most don't even recognize this pattern themselves. They say things like, I loved the design, or it makes me feel strong. But when you look closer, an invisible pattern appears. When the mind feels chaotic, the design becomes line perfect. When emotions are scattered, the symbol becomes sharply defined. When there's no control inside, control appears on the skin. Jung called this the shadow, the parts of us we deny, bury, suppress. The shadow does not disappear, it waits. And when ignored, it finds new ways to speak, often through symbols. That's why some tattoos don't say, look at my art, but rather, I'm still hurting. But at least now, that pain has a shape. Yes, it's a hard truth. So let me say this clearly. This is not an attack. It's a moment of truth. Because understanding this may be the first step toward real healing. When the inner chaos becomes too heavy to carry, we try to place it somewhere else, on a wall, in a journal, or on our skin. So the real question isn't, is this beautiful? But, is this my strength? Or is this my survival mechanism? Jung said, the unconscious speaks in myth and symbol. Even if you say, I just thought it looked cool, a deeper part of you may already be speaking. Look at the symbols many women choose. Snakes, skulls, swords, angel wings, eyes, broken clocks, chained hearts. None of these are random. They are mythic, archetypal, a broken clock, a moment frozen in time where part of you stayed, a sword, cutting ties, defending what remains. The enemy seems external, but most battles happen between versions of ourselves. A chained heart. I want to love, but I don't know how to trust. I long to let someone in, but last time it hurt. And here's the painful beauty. Most women never truly explore why they chose it. Again, not judgment, just recognition. Because the most elegant way we avoid truth is by giving it a logical explanation. But this video exists for one reason only. To help you realize, sometimes you discover the meaning of your tattoo long after you get it. And not because you're unaware, but because your unconscious was speaking before your mind caught up. The awareness may sting, but that sting is exactly where healing begins. Jung spoke of persona, the social mask, the identity we put on to meet expectations. For generations, women were taught, be soft, be kind, be agreeable. Don't be too much. Don't be loud. So what happens when a woman walks into the world, wrapped in black ink, sharp lines, defiant symbols? She's not making a fashion statement. She's tearing off the old mask. I'm not that quiet, compliant girl anymore. And yes, that can be liberating. But here's the paradox Jung warned us about. Replacing one mask with another does not make you free. It just assigns you a different role. Sometimes a tattoo feels like self-expression. Sometimes it is a resistance costume. Let's confront this. You say, I'm not who I used to be. But if your life is still a reaction to who hurt you, are you truly free? Let's embrace this. This isn't weakness. It's simply something no one ever taught you. How to define yourself, for yourself, instead of against someone else. If your tattoo feels more like in spite of them than in service of me, that symbol may not be yours yet. Many women describe getting a tattoo as, "It helps me cope. It makes me feel in control, like I'm reclaiming my body." But control over what? Ask that question honestly, and the answer is almost never just aesthetic. It often connects to abandonment, abuse, feeling unworthy, betrayal, times when the body felt like an unsafe place. When the body once felt like a battleground, tattooing can become a ceremony of reclaiming territory. If I had to suffer in this body, then I choose what marks remain on it. That action holds deep human truth, but a gentle question remains. Is this ritual leading to healing? Or has it quietly become a loop that deepens the pain while darkening the ink? Sometimes the more tattoos appear, the louder the silence beneath them grows. Awareness isn't blame. It's your first act of compassion toward yourself. Psychological studies repeatedly show patterns. Women who experience emotional instability, past trauma, identity crises, are more likely to seek body modification, tattoos, piercings, surgeries. This does not mean everyone with tattoos is traumatized. No, it means tattooing is often a familiar pathway of coping with pain. And here's the important part. Sometimes tattoos represent healing and transformation, but sometimes they simply represent the wound that hasn't healed yet. Let me say this clearly. If you recognize yourself in this video, you are not broken. You're simply at a point where your wounds began expressing themselves before you were ready to. This is not a reason to shame yourself. It's a reason to finally listen. Maybe for years you've judged yourself. Maybe I just wanted attention. Maybe I'm trying to look strong. But perhaps the truth was simpler. Maybe I just wanted to be truly seen. And there is nothing wrong with wanting that. Wrong was simply that no one showed you a healthier path to being seen. Tattoos can be beautiful, artistic, meaningful. They can represent survival, achievement, growth. But there is a fine line when you say, "This is my story." Have you truly lived that story and integrated it? Or are you freezing moments on your skin because you haven't yet found a way to free them from within? When you say, "This symbolizes strength," do you feel it inside you? Or do you need it to be seen outside you? Jung said, "The unconscious does not ask for permission to speak. It whispers through dreams, habits, symbols. If you don't listen to the whisper, it will raise its voice, sometimes as bigger breakdowns, sometimes as bigger tattoos. Your ink may not be screaming. It may simply be speaking loudly enough for you to finally hear. That is not a punch. That is the beginning of healing. One of Jung's greatest concepts, individuation, the lifelong journey toward becoming whole. Many never begin this journey. They live behind masks, react to wounds, mistake rebellion for authenticity, say, "This is just me," without ever asking, "Who am I when I'm no longer responding to the past?" Tattoos can amplify that illusion when used as shortcuts to identity, because individuation is not about adding more symbols, but about daring to ask the question behind the symbol. Why did I break in the first place? What is this pain calling me to confront? Am I defining myself against the past or toward my future? Without these questions, ink becomes camouflage. Beautiful, yes, but also heavy, because every symbol carries weight. And if you engrave that weight on your body without healing what it represents, it may bind you instead of freeing you. So let me leave this with you. Don't fight your tattoo. Don't regret it, but ask it softly. Whose voice are you speaking for? You might finally hear what years of silence were trying to say. Some women describe their bodies like this. It's my diary. It's my map. It's my memory bank. There's tragic beauty in that, because those diaries were often written in the middle of a storm. When the storm passes, the ink remains. It tells where you were, but not always where you are going. So let me leave you with one final question. Are you evolving or simply immortalizing your memories? If you can hear this without flinching, you've already crossed an important threshold. If you have tattoos, you can now choose to own them differently. If you don't, but feel drawn to getting one, this video may help you choose more consciously, because now you know this isn't just about the body, It's about what language your soul has been speaking in. And perhaps after today you'll be able to say, I don't have to aestheticize my pain to prove I survived it. I can feel it, and choose healing instead of camouflage. If you feel like this could be a beginning for you, stay here and subscribe. In the next video we'll continue, not by hiding, but by truly seeing. Because this space isn't for saying, this is who I am. From this moment on, for those who say, I will be the person I choose to be.